Am I really concerned? Not just to proclaim the gospel, not just to live the gospel, but am I concerned to defend it? We live in a world, don't we, that doesn't like dogmatism. You start to get dogmatic on something, you start to get firm about something related to the gospel, and the world will say, oh, you're just narrow-minded. But listen, it's very important that we are the kind of people who can listen to understand people's view, and we don't need to be rude, and we don't need to be harsh. But that does not mean that we sit by and allow the purity of the gospel to be tainted and say nothing. There's some times when you got to speak to your relatives, to your co-workers who are spreading false things, and you have to say, no, that's not true. That's not right. This is what Jesus says. This is who Jesus is. Because you recognize that there are evil workers out there. Dogs. False believers. And you say, well, Pastor, I'm not comfortable with that. Well, listen, God didn't call you as a believer to be comfortable, but to be faithful. And this morning, Paul would have us to understand, as we think about this text, if we're thinking about it properly, he would have us to understand that there is nothing as important as the purity of the gospel. Why? Because there is no other way of salvation. There's no other way that people will be saved. People don't go to heaven believe in a corrupt gospel, because a corrupt gospel is no gospel at all. And so we must be concerned that when we preach the gospel, when we teach the gospel, that it is a gospel that directs people solely and wholly to Christ. Because it's only in Jesus that we find salvation. Not Jesus plus church or Jesus plus activities, but Jesus and Jesus alone. It's very important that we have a zeal for the purity of the gospel. It's a matter of life and death, really. It's a matter of life and death.